Zoye Chonam La Chanjo Bardo Dane Gyapso Shem Danye Chushe Yebe Sonam Dola Benje Zanye Chobara Sho Zanye Chona Zoye Chonam La Chanjo Bardo Dane Gyapso Shem Sonam Gye Dola Benje Zanye Chobara Sho. Good evening. Yeah. Good to see you all once again. Yeah. Okay, so we're to continue. Do we know where we left off last time? I think we reached a part where the fourth emptiness or the fourth voidness happened, right? So at the you have the ebook. It's on page number 5. That is the third or the second. I don't know how to read it. Maybe the third paragraph. From all the near attainments dissolving into emptiness, all conceptual elaboration cease, and the causes of obscuration purify. When the experience, like a clear autumn sky, free from condition, arises, may the mother and child clear lights unite. Yedop tamje tongbar timbala kuldo jogo kumishin lojegi kenje dönam da büyük hemşerse ve mabu jogo chingilo. So the four voidnesses, so most of the time it's translated as four emptinesses. Even in this book, it's also translated as emptiness. Just to not to confuse, I use the term voidness. Because emptiness we should be reserved for Tongba Ni. This is Tongpa, right? So it's a void, not necessarily Tongba Ni or emptiness. Anyway, so it's translated as emptiness here. So I think I said the couple of weeks before too that just make sure that you're not making not confused between the two. So you talk about the four emptiness dissolution. You may have heard this term. That has nothing to do with emptiness per se. You know, there are things called four emptinesses, 20 emptiness, 18 emptiness, things like that. So this has got nothing to do with the four emptiness of four dissolution, emptiness with dissolution. Anyway, so We talked about basically when someone is the dying stage, when they go through two types of dissolution, elemental dissolution, external elemental dissolution. Elemental dissolution, there is the external as well as the internal. The elemental external dissolution, the five elements, so 4 elements plus the space. So internally, you are experiencing when the fire, when a person is dying at the dying stage, the body becomes weak. The sounds, it cannot make sound, is unable to see. The heat goes from the body, etc. So the body becomes, the firmness of the body is lost or weakened. That is when the earth is dissolved, earth element is dissolved. Externally, what we refer to as the earth element has dissolved. Internally, you feel as if you are sinking. Yeah, your body, you feel as if you are sinking, and your body becomes creaky. Then earth dissolving into water, right? Then the water dissolves into fire. Yeah. So when the water dissolves, when the earth dissolves into water, this is how you feel. Because when you put a dollop of earth or dust into a water, it just sinks. Similarly, you feel as if your body is being sinking. That is called the earth dissolving into water. Body losing its firmness. Yeah. Then the water dissolve into fire means body loses the heat. Yeah. No more, how to say, mouth become dry internally. And from outside, when you look at the person, that person looks as weary, yeah, like that. And then the water dissolves into the fire, and the fire dissolves into the wind. That time there's no heat, right? And the heat dissolves, the fire dissolves into the wind. Yeah, that time the heat disappears from the body. So there are two ways to dissolve the. We call it collecting the heat. That's basically the heat being removed from your body. For someone who has done a lot of negative deeds, the heat resolves from the shoulder. Heat is collected from the shoulder. Basically means your body starts to get cold from the shoulder down towards the heart chakra. If you have done a very virtuous person, done a lot of meritorious work, do good things, good person, or someone who has accumulated a lot of merit, that person, the heat is collected from, or your body starts to get cold from the feet. So even that is something of an internal sign, not necessarily a person outside. If you are helping a person who is on a death stage, you may or may not be able to feel it. Yeah, it's more of an internal sign. So, so when and then you start to hear some of then the fire dissolves into wind. So when the wind dissolves into the, what do you call that? The space, right? Internally, you start to what wind dissolving is what? Yeah, there's also the signs like so when the wind energy dissolves, you start to experience short breathing. Yeah, your breathing becomes short, exasperated, etc. like that. You have hard time breathing, like that. And so at this, then this is called sort of the external dissolution, yeah, because you are referring to the external elements of fire, this and that. Then after this happen, when the wind energy is dissolved into the space element, wind element is dissolved into the space element, then at the same time the subtle mind. So our mind starts to become very subtle. The mental state becomes very subtle, meaning all distraction, cannot hear that moment. In general, cannot hear, cannot smell, cannot feel, nothing in general. So there are some special cases. There's always this question of like, if you cannot hear at that moment, then what's the point of doing some mantra recitation, such as like guiding that person to the enlightenment, like reading out Amitabha practices or guidance to guidelines to achieve enlightenment. These are that particular books, or normally when a person is dying, especially that person is a practitioner, we read their daily practices. If they are doing Vajrasattva, Vajrayogini, whatever, we decide that for them. So at that point, since they cannot hear all their five senses, when the five elements dissolve, the five senses also go down. So if you remember, dissolution of the five elements or four elements does not mean the water actually goes into fire or the fire goes into earth. It just means that the water element or the water energy has receded, has gone down, is no longer functioning, and the next available faculty has been somewhat exacerbated or has become more acute. That's when you call it dissolution of earth into. So that dissolution of earth into water does not mean earth becomes water. It just means earth is no longer functioning. The body firmness is no longer functioning, no longer working. And the next one, which is water, that becomes more acute. So on and so forth. That's the reference for dissolution. So it's not a true dissolution in the sense that one is absorbed by the next thing, but the feeling is absorbed. So when one feeling is receded and the other feeling is more acute, it's called dissolution of one thing to the next one, etc. So then after that you have the mind, what we usually call the sixth sense or the sixth mind, the consciousness, dissolves into the subtle consciousness, or the mind becomes subtle, right? Very subtle. And so when it becomes subtle, basically means since the five doors are, we usually call it five doors. The five senses are called, sometimes referred to as five doors or windows. So when the five doors are closed, there is no way for information to come in, no audio information to come in, no olfactory smell to come in, no taste to come in. So all the doors are closed. So therefore, you have no distraction from these five senses or five doors. Therefore, the mind, the consciousness is at its purest form. But at the same time, even at that stage, there is the conceptual thought is still there. Conceptual thought, even though you cannot see, but you have memory of sight. Cannot see, you have memory of sight. Cannot taste, but have a sense of what food tastes like, etc. In a very mild form, etc. Like that. Then everything is dissolved. Our external developments, you are ignorant. You are ignorant of the external developments. You are no longer aware of the external developments. People playing music, doing this or that, whatever, you are unaware. So there's always this question of, if that is the case, then why do you do their daily practices for them? Because they cannot, the sound is no longer going into their ear anymore. The ear essences are already closed. So that requires a very, there is no easy explanation for that. So during the Mind and Life conferences with scientists and His Holiness always raised that question himself, like sort of a self-inquiry manner, in a more of a self-inquiry manner. He asked that question, how does this happen? There were instances where after the after the development of the five elemental dissolution has taken place. Even after that, not only that, after from that, then when you take the dissolution of the four emptiness or the four voidnesses, known as luminosity, increase, close attainment, and complete voidness, or known as the four emptinesses, four voidnesses. So this is something that comes after you go into, after the elemental dissolution, the external dissolution, comes the more inner dissolution of the four voidnesses or the four emptinesses, right? So even those who are in taking the who are in the process of dissolving into the four emptinesses or four voidnesses, then sometimes people seem to change their form. So a person who has died, like some realized masters, then some very highly revered masters. So when you put them into, let's say they died facing south, and after some time doing puja, doing some prayer or whatever, after some time they seem to have changed their position. So instead of facing south, which their original position was, after some time, you find them facing towards west. In case, let's say, most of these things happen in a sense that when the person is actually dying, he is very sick, so he couldn't move here or there. So he, let's say, died facing towards the south. Then, because he's a ardent Amitabha follower, Amitabha devout, ardent Amitabha practitioner. So after some time, you find him facing north, west towards Amitabha's Pure Land, and there is no way how to describe this thing, because externally he's not able to hear any of the prayers that you do for him, because the elemental dissolution has already taken place. That means he cannot hear, the five senses are already closed. Yeah. So that's very difficult to explain. Then, some people who were lying down seem to rise up. So, rise up in the sense of it does, it happens, yeah. Not the jumping one, okay? I know what you're thinking. So, no, not that one, but that can also happen. It's also not worse out. There was a story of like that, right? You know that story? You don't know? Oh, okay. There was one particular Lama who passed away. I mean, for him, I think the whole dissolution process, everything took place, complete everything. So he passed away, like publicly dead, right? And later, at the same time, there was in the same region, there was a night. So it happened in Tibet and close to the Chinese border. And 200 to 300 years ago, okay? 350 years ago. So then the one Lama passed away, and at the same time that region, one Chinese boy, so Lama was a Tibetan, okay? The Chinese boy, young boy, who was in his teenage years, 19 or something, died. And there was a death procession going on. They were carrying the body of the boy, like that. And all of a sudden, the boy jumped up. And the pallbearers, the people, those who were carrying the body of the corpse of the dead boy, they all screamed, scared, and they throw the string. What do you call it? Stretcher, is it? Yeah, the stretcher down, or the procession down, and then they shouted like zombie, 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 like that. And of course there was a local battalion or a garrison there. So basically the army was called, and the general and all the local general, battalion general, whatever, came with 3 forces of army, 3 company, 3 battalions, and pointed the arrow at the boy who was a zombie now, right? And the boy so don't shoot, don't shoot, don't shoot. Of course, nobody's gonna listen to that. Then the boy shouted, and this is that Rinpoche. Like, he mentioned the name of the very highly revered Lama of that particular place. And when that was mentioned, then he was such a highly revered even among the Chinese by everyone. So then they listened. They had to. The general was keen to understand further. Then asked some question, and the boy, 19 years of age, answered all the questions, gave answer to everything, etc., like that. And so later, so basically the general was convinced that this was the real, real reincarnation, so to speak.
Sounds very familiar.
Yeah.
Is it yourself?
It's not me. I don't remember such thing. So then they were convinced, and then they put the boy carried the boy to the monastery where they were doing the death ritual, the death procession for the dead lama. So they were how to say, honored by this boy who just died, who appeared to be a zombie, and now he has a charade of military force and everything brought to the monastery. They installed the boy as the reincarnation of that monastery, and it was so it actually happened to be, the boy happened to be the real reincarnation of that lama. Yeah, so right after he died, he didn't, instead of being born as a baby boy in a mother's womb, he just chose to transfer his consciousness to the boy who is already a late teenage, like that. So yeah. So anyway, my point was, yeah, sometimes this kind of thing happens. Some lamas are born like this. So it's not new. It has happened. So that was during the time of 4th to 5th Dalai Lama's time, like that. Anyway, so come to the point. Yeah, some people do move like this and that. So that's how to explain how it happens. Okay. So then the inner dissolution, which is the we call it the luminosity. The Tibetan word is nawa, which means light or luminosity. So luminosity increase. So this is known as the 4 voidnesses. The first voidness is luminosity. The first voidness is called voidness or emptiness. The second voidness is called great voidness or great emptiness, Tongpa Chimbo, which is given the title or name increased. The third one is known as great close attainment. Then it's also known as extremely empty. Yeah. Yeah. Then after close attainment is something known as total darkness or total voidness, complete voidness. Complete voidness, the 4th voidness, or the complete voidness, they're all same. So basically what happens is your body, the first thing is called, I think this is from the book, if you read here on the page number 5, the appearance of luminosity increase in attainment successively dissolve when appearance like the moon, sun and the darkness pervade. Through the yoga of realizing emptiness of samsara nirvana, may I be blessed to recognize my own true nature. So this is called the dissolution of the four emptiness or the four voidnesses. So here the luminosity dissolve into increase, dissolve into attainment, dissolves into complete voidness. So what happens is during the luminosity, there's something called the upward going wind and the downward going wind. Yeah, the wind that is being forced downward and that's being forced upward. So the upward wind forces or activates the crown chakra. At the crown chakra, the semen or the male element, or the white, we usually call it the white bodhicitta or white element, resides in the crown chakra. So that wind actually, by activating that wind, that crown chakra, the white bodhicitta or the white element, the male element, is released. So because it's white in color, you have a sense of whiteness or luminosity. That's why the first whiteness is called luminosity. So these four are both form of whitenesses or form of emptiness. To have a better understanding, okay, just for the sake of understanding, I will call it darkness. So darkness, great darkness, extremely dark, and total dark. If you call it that way, it's more easy to understand. The word which used in Tibetan is tombak, which means empty or void. So let's go for dark. It's dark, but since it's a form of darkness, because you are going to die into facing death, so it's getting darker and darker in a sense. But since there is the white element is released from the top, from the crown, from top there, so therefore you have a sense of whiteness, sense of light, sense of luminosity. It's not bright luminosity, but it's just a sense of a little bit of light there. That's why it's called luminosity. And then then the downward causing light goes down. So upward wind and the downward wind, they both go starts from the center, the heart chakra. So the heart chakra pushes the wind upwards and activates the crown chakra and releases the white element, which is semen. And then it goes downward to the secret part. Here in the text it says to the navel. So in any case, it's pushed up to the navel, or depending on which text we are looking, it's either pushed to the navel or the secret parts. In any case, it activates the what is known as the red bodhicitta. So this is it can be like it is the source of blood. Okay, so usually we regard the blood to come from mother, female, and the semen to coming from the father or the male. So the white bodhicitta or white element is the male energy, and the red blood element, red bodhicitta, is the female element. So we are all born from father and a mother, so therefore we have both of these elements within us. The female element, the female energy, and the male energy in the form of white element and red element. So when you talk about white and red element, it's not something that's visible to the naked eye. Maybe with a very microscope, yeah, probably visible. But even then, it's very subtle, yeah. So this one is pushed upwards. So that one is pushed upwards. That's why it's called. It activates the navel energy, or so usually we go with navel energy here. So the navel chakra, navel chakra is activated, and it pushes the red bodhicitta, or the red element, or the blood source or blood energy is pushed upward to the heart chakra, right? It goes down. So when you push something down very strongly, it just pops up, right? If you try to fill up a water bottle with a very powerful, so very powerful water comes down into a bottle, it just pops up, erupts. So it by this forcing, by the downward causing energy or wind pushing it downward, since there's nowhere else to go, it goes up. It goes back to the, comes back to the, not comes back. The wind pushes it to pushes the red bodhicitta to be sent to the heart chakra. So that wind, the red bodhicitta, or the red element, or the blood source, whatever you may call it, goes to the feminine energy. Is pushed to the feminine energy, which is red color, is pushed to the heart chakra. So that's why increase, because it's coming from the navel to the heart chakra. So it's called increase. So increase is color. The color of increase, or the sense you have, the sense of being you have at that moment, is some sort of a redness. So we call it Namakarlamba, which means luminosity, white. Increase, red, Chava Marlamba. And then we have, so when these two are pushed, the white bodhicitta drop down, and the red bodhicitta pushed upward. At the heart chakra is like the mega box, like with one cap and a bottom. So when after you put whatever belongings you have in there, valuables in there, you close it like this, right? So after pushing it downwards and upward, then the casket, that's the heart chakra anyway. So it's somehow pressed together, like pressurized, right? So when that thing happened, there's a sense of total darkness. It's not total darkness. Let's say it gets much darker, right? At first, it's dark with a sense of whiteness, which is less dark. Then dark with a sense of redness, increase, which goes darker than that. And then the next one is known as Nyatop. Nyatop is close attainment. Nyatop Naklamba. That means close attainment, the color is black. So it's dark black, white darkness, red darkness, and black darkness. So you see the transition from mild darkness to greater or graver darkness happening. So, and that happens at the same time during this transition, the mind is going deeper and deeper, meaning the mind is getting more and more subtler and subtler and subtler. Then close attainment, the color is black. So then during the close attainment, it's like the cap and the box being closed together like that. So when this closure is done, closure is made, then there is a sense of an explosion. Not an explosion. Okay, explosion is a very bad word to use. Basically, there is a closure. That closure makes it darker. So there's a total darkness now, and that's why after close attainment, it's called total darkness. So you have luminosity, known as voidness. Then you have increase, known as extreme voidness. Second one, increase is called extreme voidness. After that, you have close attainment, that is called great voidness. Okay. After great voidness, you have total darkness, total closure, that is known as complete voidness. Yeah, voidness, extreme voidness, great voidness, and total or complete voidness. So at the time of complete voidness, then there is not only external distractions are already gone by the five elementals dissolution. So when you're going through the four void dissolution of the light luminosity to increase into close attainment into total voidness, that time even your conceptual distraction, conceptual mindset is also being sort of curbed. So there's less and less distraction. So basically your mind is going much clearer. So at that time it's called, your mind is going clearer and clearer. And at that moment it is also known as clear light. So clear light is basically your mind at its subtlest form. So clear light has two parts. There are two aspects: the mother clear light and the son clear light. So son meets the mother, right? Son comes later. Mother is already there before. So in general, mother comes before and the son is there afterwards. But when you talk about that, so there's this reference to, maybe I think we can find it here. Yeah. So next verse is, from all the near attainments dissolving into emptiness, meaning the great emptiness or the great void. So from all the near attainments dissolving into emptiness, all conceptual elaboration cease. Can you find that verse, that line? Yeah. So this emptiness actually refers to the total emptiness or total voidness, the fourth emptiness. It's referring to this one. So near attainment is the third void. So the third void dissolves into the fourth void, which is known as the total voidness. So here it's translated as emptiness, okay? So here emptiness means the fourth void, or the total voidness. At that moment, all conceptual elaboration cease, all conceptual thought, any elaboration, any elaboration is ceased. There's nothing, and the cause of obscurations purify. Anything that causes obscuration, only anything to stain, anything to cloud us is purified. Purified in the sense that it's no longer there. It's not through a real purification, because everybody who dies just go through that phase. Just because you cannot feel something does not mean it's not there. Like when your hand goes numb, you cannot feel the pain if somebody hits at you. But that doesn't mean there is no harm being done to the hand. The harms are being done to the hand just because, maybe a good example is dentist. We go to the dentist, they use anesthesia. Is it anesthesia? Right? Local anesthesia, right? So they use the local anesthesia, and you don't feel the drilling and this and that. You have a sense of it because you are aware, you went to the dentist yourself, but you don't feel the drilling part. But it does not mean it's not happening. So similarly, obscurations are purified in the sense that obscurations are no longer felt, no longer you are aware of that, you are oblivious to obscurations in that sense. It's not like because you really purified that when you don't feel the pain while they're drilling you, is not because there is no actual harm going on. They're actually destroying your teeth in the sense of cutting or whatever, but you don't feel it because you are numb. So just like that, obscurations, the causes for obscuration, cause for clouding our judgment, our mind, that has been purified. So this purified does not mean real purification. It means just it's not there. Because this purification, in some text, this is understood mistakenly, and then some people translate this as dying as a form of enlightenment, which is not true. When the experience like a clear autumn sky, free from condition, arises, may the mother and child clear lights unite. So free from condition means, condition here refers to external condition. So your mind is not affected by external conditions. Of course, because even before that, long time before that, during the elemental dissolution, all the external disturbances are no longer impediment to your judgment, nothing. And not only that, when the four internal dissolutions are taking place, your mind is going more and more subtle, right? And internal disturbances, internal impediments are also being discarded. So therefore, you are free from conditions. This is what it means by free from conditions. Free from conditioned experiences, may the mother and child clear lights unite. So mother and child clear light, so child clear light, you need to understand that first. Clear light means the mind at its subtlest form. And it's okay, mind at its subtlest form is clear light, okay? Clear light. For the untrained or for the ordinary beings, we refer to when we say clear light, this is our mind at its most subtle form, the truest essence of the mind, that is called clear light. I'll come to that later. So then clear light has two parts, mother and son, right? Mother and child. So child is basically a mind that is familiar, that is habituated into the concept of emptiness, concept of interdependency, and has a sense of understanding of emptiness. That is the son. Then when you are able to regain the same vigor and same intensity of concentrated meditation at the time of death, during the transitioning from the close attainment to complete darkness or complete voidness, yeah. Then when the complete darkness happen, which is total darkness, complete voidness, which is like a total darkness, nothing. Like when it's dark in the nighttime, without any light, it's total darkness. But still, you are able to, if you focus, you are able to make some blurry picture images or something. But total complete darkness means you are not able to make out anything. It's like staying in a dark room with your eyes blindfolded and closed, so nothing, right? So in that sense, that in that moment, with your practices, you are able to bring forth the sun clear light up to this point. So right after close attainment dissolves into complete voidness, which is known as the fourth voidness, or the fourth stage of voidness, the darkest of the dark, four dark modes. So when that thing happens, it stays for a very short period, like a millisecond or so. And immediately, right after that closure, right after that darkness, it just, blows up into complete brightness, total brightness, bright. So at that moment, this also happens to everyone, okay? It's not just for practitioner. For what happens for the practitioner is that if you have the sun clear light, meaning you have habituated your mind into aligning with the understanding of emptiness during your alive moment, then at the time of the death, you can actually regain that same momentum, same intensity, and same vigor, right? And when that happens, if you could regain the same intensity, momentum, vitality, and everything, so that clear light, that understanding of emptiness at the time of death, when this total voidness appears, right? At that moment, when you are able to regain the same thing, at that stage, it's called the mother clear light. And when you are able to bring forth that understanding of emptiness, clear light, into when your mind goes from the subtlest to the subtlest of the subtlest, right? Then it's called the mother and the son reuniting. Mother clear light and the son clear are reuniting. It's basically mother clear light is post-death subtlest form of the mind, subtlest state of the mind post-death, and sun clear light is subtle form of the subtle aspect of the mind during a life moment. So when you are able to bring it to the time of death, it's called the mother and the son reuniting. Okay, so so when the mother and son reunites, or in basically when you are able to regain the same vigor, same intensity, same momentum of wisdom, recognizing emptiness, or wisdom comprehending the concept of emptiness or emptiness at that moment, this is called the mother clear light, or the mother and the son clear light reuniting or merging into each other. So reuniting is basically merging into each other. So the son merges into the, like a mother opens the arm for the son to come in, so the son merges into the mother, or the living experience of emptiness merges into the emptiness experience in the death stage, right? So death, so there is where, this is where like experienced meditator can remain in a very long meditation, post-death meditation. Thuktam is all happening in that stage. So they stay in that stage as long as they wish. A lot of time we, in general, we don't raise the, we don't wake up the dead person. We don't wake up the person for 3 days in general, no matter what the status of that person is. If for our masters, we let them remain for much further. If it's an ordinary person, depending on the situation, depending on whether you can afford or not, and maybe what are the requirements of the law and this and that, we may ask the person to conclude their post-death meditation, or just basically die completely, So the general sort of precautionary measure is that when our Lama passed, when our great master passes away, there's few things that we will not do, such as not to light incense, and not to not to ring the bell. We will do a lot of prayers at the place where someone passed away, but we will refrain from using the bell. So incense, because smell. So the reason is what comes next after this process is the Bardo, the intermediate. Okay, the Bardo. So Bardo is very near to come by. So if you light the incense, because the Bardos, intermediate beings, feed on smell. If you use an incense, especially very fragrant incense, this can be a sort of a precursor, propel them to unfold their meditation, come out of their meditation. So, but okay, I'll just but this even though this is the belief system, but it's very hard to believe, because at that moment all the bodily functions are already closed. Cannot smell, supposedly cannot smell, cannot hear, none of that, right? If they cannot smell, even if you light incense, how can you wake them from their meditative meditative equipoise, meditation concentration? Why? How? Then also the bell ringing. If you ring the bell, they cannot hear, in a sense that the four elements have already dissolved, external elements have dissolved, so all the doors are closed. So the ear doors, the oral doors are closed. So there is no entry point for sound to come through. So how can this propel them to wake up from their meditation? Anyway, that's a larger question, deeper question. The reason ringing the bell, the understanding lies behind that is there's something called meditative. Have you heard of something called meditative addiction? No, right? Because I just made it up. There's no such thing, okay? um, um, but there's something called meditative inebriation, like, getting drunk. Have you heard of the phrase, save us from samsara and save us from nirvana? That one you are familiar, yeah. So save us from samsara is very easy to understand. Samsara is full of suffering, this and that. So nirvana is there are countless number of arahats after attaining nirvana. They remain in a meditative equipoise for eons. Because when you are in a meditative state, you are free from all suffering, nothing what's happening around you. You are oblivious to pain and suffering and everything. So you are in a complete state of meditative high. You are inebriated. You are going on a high without any substances, but with meditation, you're going on a special high that lets you. It's the joyfulness that you feel at that moment, like peaks, right? Like every other form of high or every other form of inebriation is just so too trivial, it's not worth. So they remain in meditative equipoise for like tens of thousands of eons. So when that happens, the Buddhas had to call them up, to wake them up from their meditative slumber, even though it's not the right word. So they kind of inebriated in that state for eons. So arahats, you can say they are more, in a sense, you can say they are more intelligent or sharper wisdom, so that they're able to get rid of all the negative emotions, afflictive emotions, clashes, all of them. They're able to clear them off, so they achieve nirvana. But at the same time, they are not not courageous enough to take the responsibility of all sentient beings. So they just want to remain in that state just for themselves. So there is that selfish nature or self-grasping attitude there. Where in the case of bodhisattvas, they suffer, they're in samsara, they go through a lot of hardship, but then they are always thinking for the sake of all sentient beings. So it looks as if the arahats has the better of the two path. The arahats, right, road is much better because he's not suffering and is all this. But then if you look at it not from just a few years or a few centuries or this and that, but if you look at it from a point of eons, then the bodhisattvas attain nirvana, Buddhahood much faster than the arahat. Because what happens with the arahat and bodhisattva is the story of the tortoise and the rabbit, the hare. The tortoise running and thinking, undermining the rabbit that he cannot catch up and taking a nap. Sorry, the rabbit took a nap, and while the tortoise just kept and he won the race. So it's similar to that analogy, that metaphor. The arahat reach nirvana very quickly, and then they are stuck in nirvana. They're stuck in nirvana because they have nothing to worry about, no pain, nothing, right? So they remain in that state, sort of not necessarily unaware, but kind of indifferent to people suffering around them. So while they were meditating, they were inebriating, they are in that meditative high, they are in that meditative equipoise. The bodhisattvas just keep stumbling, walking slowly, and reach enlightenment before the arahats. While then arahats have to start once again. After the bodhisattvas have become Buddha, the arahats are realizing that they have been asleep for too long, then they start once again. Because what happens is they have removed all the what we usually refer as the clashes, which is the more gross form of afflictive emotions, Like so anger, hatred, all these things are not there, but their imprints are still there. So the tiger is gone, the beast is gone, but the footprint of the beast is still there, which you have to clear as well. Usually we liken that to a pot of garlic. So when you remove the garlic, the smell is still there. So the stench is still there, you have to clean it up. So what happens with the Arahat is that they remove the garlic long time back, but then they kind of, to be honest, like they kind of remain in a cryogenic sort of state, you know, cryogenic. So I mean, it's kind of a concept that you can freeze someone into, you know, you can freeze every part of the cell, freeze the whole cell, every part of the body by biological thing, you freeze them, and then for 20, 30 something years, and later when it's time to make that person alive, you can unfreeze the cells, and then that person comes alive. So let's say you don't want to live through this era, from now to 2050, you don't want to live. Let's say you want to come out in 2049 or 2051, then they put you in a cryogenic, like frozen, they freeze you up like you freeze a meat, chicken, whatever, and then after some time, then they take you out. You know, you survive through whatever mess that the world is going through. And then when you come out with, I don't know what's the expectation was. Anyway, that's the concept, right? So Arhat also do something similar. They kind of stay, most of the time, a lot of time, they sort of transform their body into rock formations and mountains, etc. Or they they project their consciousness into like hard rock or maybe adamantine or titanium or whatever, very hard substances that is unbreakable. And then remain within that space, because then your consciousness is somewhat protected. I mean, that idea itself is very strange, because to protect the consciousness, right? But anyway, they project their consciousness within the sphere of adamantine rock or some form of very hard substance, the hardest substance there may be. And then when it's time for them to come back or come alive or come out of their meditative state, then they can, the rock can be broken or this and that. So, for example, like there's one place called Gurba in Bodh Gaya. If you go to Bodh Gaya, it's like 40 minutes drive from there, 45 minutes drive from there. You have to go up a particular steep climb. There's a mountain, which is known as the Ruo Chakang, which is where Asanga, Master Asanga met with Maitreya. There's a story like that. So it's the same place. On one side is the Asanga's, stupa and all that. And the other side there is a rock. So the local people, the Indians, they don't regard this as the Asanga's place. They regard this as, what is the eldest student of Buddha? I forgot his name now. Kashyapa, yeah, Mahakashyapa. So they call it Mahakashyapa's cave, Mahakashyapa. So Mahakashyapa is, when Buddha passed away, he gave his sort of lineage or his reign to Mahakashyapa. So Mahakashyapa is one of the greatest Shavaka Arhat masters there. So he actually projected his body, his being, his consciousness, if you like, into that rock. So it's in a rock formation. It's actually within a mountain. It's within a rock formation. So the belief is that when the time is ripened, that rock will be split, and then from there the consciousness of, or the body of Mahakashyapa will be formed. In any way, so my point was that you stay in that long meditative equipoise, and you are woken up by the Buddhas, because it's been too long. You have you are being indifferent to the sentient beings suffering, and you have been so careless. So it's time for you to wake up and do something. You have been a very lazy son. So you have to wake up and go and earn. So they wake up by ringing the bell. Okay, maybe this is just symbolic because bell symbolizes wisdom. So Buddhas try to, push wisdom into the arhat's head. You must now raise your wisdom. You must raise your wisdom, and you must achieve enlightenment. You cannot remain in that state for too long, because if the Buddhas do not wake them up, they will remain in that forever actually, and they have the ability to remain in that way. So anyway, so we don't ring the bell and we don't burn incense, for that particular reason. So ordinary beings, usually when they pass away, we put their body, let it remain for 3 days. Only after 3 days we do the calculations, this and that, to dispose, whether to cremate or this and that. So that's one way of looking at it. Usually with great masters, we don't do the calculation when is the good time to dispose this and that. Sometimes the masters, they leave a sort of a will. You can dispose of my body after this thing. And so in any case, if you are not sure the master has left or not, if you're not sure the consciousness is still in the body or not, then there is a particular prayer to be said, and then can you guess what we do? Incense, and ring the bell, wake them up, just go, right? We have to do that. Otherwise, you will be killing a person, because the consciousness still alive there means the person is still alive. Not clinically alive, but spiritually, the person is still in there. So you have to wake him up. Yeah. Okay. So then they remain in that state. After that, right? Then just follow the book. Then, so during the time of the four emptiness, following the lightning flash, when the inner fire melts the moon at the crown on the primordial wisdom united with the innate bliss and emptiness. So this is this does not properly align with the process of dissolution, but it's more of an aspirational prayer to these practices known as prayer for liberation from the dangerous path. So during the four emptiness, when the four emptiness is being taken place, for dissolution is taking place, so the lightning flash is basically a reference to the tumo at the heart. Okay, tumo at the navel. Sorry, tumo. So provided that you are familiar practitioner, experienced practitioner, then you raise the tumo fire, and the tumo fire goes up to melt the moon at the crown. The moon, which is white, is a reference to the white bliss. White bliss or the white bodhicitta, right? So if you remember that dissolution of the white bodhicitta has actually taken much earlier during the first the luminosity. It's called luminosity because this is being melted, right? So the idea is that instead of the wind energy kind of pushing the light, pushing the white bliss, the white energy, white element to come down, we use the inner fire to melt the white element, and then it drops. So instead of all this happening in an uncontrolled manner, you actually make this happen, right? And the primordial wisdom, so that one. So when arising from that state, so then after that happens the total darkness or total closure, total voidness. So when arising from that state means rising from the total voidness, the clear light of death. The clear light of death is the mother clear light. from mere wind and mind, may the body radiate with auspicious marks, having arisen as Sambhogakaya of the Bardo, may the illusory constitution be perfected. So now this is very profound. So here the term, the second line, from mere wind and mind, may the body radiate with auspicious marks and sign. Auspicious mark and sign is basically the 80 auspicious signs and 32 minor marks, major and minor marks of a Buddha. So this is a reference to the Sambhogakaya body. So when you are in, so now you rise from your meditative, you are in a meditative post-death meditation for a certain period of time, and now you choose to rise from that meditation, you choose to rise from your death state. Basically, you are in general, in ordinary case, you are basically now you are heading towards the Bardo state. So for a experienced practitioner, what you can do is at that state. So now you remain in understanding of emptiness for as long as you like, and then using that mental entity, like just for mere wind and mere mind, what that means is, in order to, because the Sambhogakaya form is the most complete form of the Buddha's body, right? The enjoyment body is the most complete form of the Buddha's body. So that means it has celestial body, glowing light, all the best garments, everything is there, which is a physical thing. And so all this physical thing, physical entity must come from mere mind and wind. So wind is a reference to the wind energy or the wave energy that we have within, and and the mind. The mind here refers to the subtlest mind. So if you remember 2 days ago, right, 2, 3 days, actually a few days back, before the new name, we talk about psychophysical entity. So we talk about the importance of why we do visualization, why we do the front generation and self-generation. We need to rise ourselves as the deity in the self-generation, because in order to attain the Buddha's perfect body, right? Buddha's perfect body, speech, mind, realm, and activity, we need to have that result, we need a cause, we need to prepare the cause. So for the detailed method of acquiring the cause for Buddha's perfect body comes only in the Tantra. So you have self-generation and front generation only in Tantra. We don't have it in Sutra teachings. So last time I also said, if you want to know the difference between what is Vajrayana and what is non-Vajrayana teaching of Buddhism, any topic that details about these four pure forms, pure body, pure mind, pure body, speech, activity, and realm. Okay, mind is actually spoken in the sutra. Okay, because apart from transformation of the mind, the other physical and verbal abilities, potential of the Buddha is not the cause for acquiring such a excellent, marvelous, qualitative potential of the Buddha is not spoken in the Sutrayana teachings, only in the Vajrayana it's spoken. So therefore, that is the difference between Sutrayana and Vajrayana. It's not about doing a mantra, it's not about doing a mandala, not this and that, okay? Not doing Vajra bell or drums, none of that. None of the wearing different hats or different garments. This does not differentiate what is Sutra and what's Tantra. Tantra is which talks about the four transformation, and Vajrayana talks about that. Sutrayana doesn't talk about that. So, transforming the body, the primary cause for the Buddha's perfect body, or the substantial cause for the Buddha's perfect body, has to be accumulated in our ordinary state of when we are sentient beings. Before we become a Buddha, we have to accumulate that. So in the current state, this body will not become the Buddha's body, because when you die, this body will be cremated. So the body itself will not be the cause for Buddha's body. So something that goes from now until we achieve enlightenment, there's only one thing, the mind. Yeah. So the mental state or the mind, which is a psychological thing, right? So the body of the Buddha, the perfect body of the Buddha, enlightened body of the Buddha, is a physical thing. So in general, substantial cause means it has to be same as the cause has to be same as the effect has to be, or cause has to be same as an effect, right? Or the cause has to be of same nature as an effect. Like for example, the seed is the substantial cause of a tree. A mango seed is the substantial cause of a mango tree. But the tree doesn't look anything like the mango, right? It's still fine because this mango seed grows into a tree. That's the substantial cause. Similarly, the substantial cause of the Buddha's perfect body is this psychological, which is mental, visualization, which is mental, psychological objectification of the Buddha's perfect body, which is a physical thing. Buddha's body is a physical thing. The mental projection is a psychological thing. So psychological projection of a physiological thing. Okay? So I'm not using like complex words to confuse you or anything. This is what it is, okay? There's no simpler way to explain this than that. So when you visualize the Buddha's body, which is a physical thing, the visualization itself is a conceptual thing, so it's a mental thing. So you are mentally thinking of something that is non-mental. So this non-mental, which is Buddha's body, is the object of that mental conception, the visualization part. So even though it's a psychological thing, it's a mental thing, the object that the mental visualization is embodying is physical, okay? So when you, for example, when you have a picture of let's say $100, picture of $100 and $100 is two different things, right? But the entity that the $100 picture of the $100 is embodying is $100, right? So it can, if you cut it properly and all that, it can actually pass off as $100 to certain people. So it becomes a cause in a way. You understand? It's not exactly $100, but it can pass off if you like print it very well, counterfeit, right? So if you do it properly, if you're expert in like printing out the $100 photo, it can pass off as a $100 bill. Two different things. $100 photo is your visualization, self-generation. $100 photo, that is the $100 photo. $100 bill is the Buddha's perfect body. So right now, you don't have a $100 bill. So you use the counterfeit as your projection. Yeah. So the self-generation comes here like that. So what this line is talking about is using. It says mere mind and wind. So just by using your mind, just by using your psychological ability, you create a physiological. Just by using a psychological entity, you create a physical world, a physical body. So that's what I was talking back then about the Pure Land. All Pure Lands are a product of the mind. Okay, that's universal. And then is it a project of the mind or not? In order to highlight that point, I use this analogy. You can also call it. I said that you can call it. It's also safe to say that Pure Land is a projection of the mind in that sense, because right now, for example, my Pure Land is not there yet, but I have a projection of my Pure Land. I have a photo of the $100 million that I'm going to acquire. Anyway, so this is what he's talking about. From mere wind and mind, may the body radiate with auspicious marks and signs. So may I be able to, so using the mind, the psychological energy or psychological potential alone as the seed or as the model or as the model, then you work on that model to create a physiological world, physiological body of the Buddha. So this is called Bardo Longku Shenpa, or rising as the Sambhogakaya form in the intermediate state. So in the intermediate state, when your mind is as a sorcerer's form, without any obstacles, then it is the best way to practice your transformation of the current gross body from the gross body, transformation of the gross body into the subtle body of the Buddha in the purest form of Sambhogakaya. So this part is done during so it's an aspiration saying, may I be able to do so. Having a resonant Sambhogakaya of the Bardo, may the illusory concentration be perfected. Now, the next one is more of a prayer on. I will just read this one, but it's not. Okay. If by karma a Bardo existence arises, may I immediately realize that the suffering of birth, death, and Bardo is not truly existent, and may mistaken appearances arise purely. I'll just finish this, okay? So in case I'm unable to, I'm visualizing myself, projecting myself as a Bardo, but I may not be successful. Most likely I will not be, right? So if I'm not able to, this is a little bit of pessimistic thinking from my side. Actually, you can rise with this projection if your concentration is pure and without impediments. You can actually, this transformation at that moment, at the time of death itself, you can actually rise as perfect enlightened Buddha in the Sambhogakaya form. You have the ability. If you have this possibility if you are able to do so. Yeah. So it's not out of range. In any case, if you are not able to do so, then may I be able to have a Bardo life without any obstacle, this and that, without any confusion, without any appearance, this and that. So that is a prayer being done. Okay. So during the time of the Bardo, may I be free from all obstacles, etc. So this part talks about the Bardo state. So Bardo. What's that? So I forgot the line. This is from the Abhidharma Kosha. So Bardo life is said to have, okay. So the Bardo life, the lifespan of a Bardo, okay, intermediate state is 7 days. After 7 days, they die. So Bardo is, even though it's not found, so Bardo doesn't belong to any of the 6 realms, not God, not human, nothing. So that's why it's called Bar, intermediate, right? In that case, it's not a Gewa, it's not a birth, it's not a realm. So the death has happened, birth has not yet happened. In between, you have the Bardo. So it doesn't belong to any of the 6 realms. So you are nobody, literally. So Wangbo Gunsang Tome then Midok Teni Tisawo. So Wangbo Gunsang Tome then Midok. So 2 lines to explain what Bardowa is all about in the Abhidharma Kosha. So Wangbo Gunsang means all the faculties are intact. So you may have lost a leg or eyesight, whatever when you are alive. But when you die, now when you at the Bardo, then the death is already gone. So now you are not even death. You are dead, of course. You have gone beyond death. Okay, you have not been born yet. You have crossed the barrier of death. You have not reached the border of birth. So you are in between. In that state, you have some form of magical faculties and magical powers, such as all your faculties are intact, so you can hear, all this and there. So according to the text, it said they cannot see few things, such as sun and moon, Funny, right? So sun and moon, because sun and moon, the sun and moon is not seen because, any idea? So the moon is a reference to the moon element or the white bodhicitta. So the white bodhicitta has dropped and has transpired, and then the sun is, we're referring to a sunset here. So that sunset red, that is a reference to the red bodhicitta, which is blood. So this comes from the father and the mother. So since the father and mother has not conceived yet, so you do not have the red bodhicitta, red element, and these two elements are not there. So therefore you cannot see sun and moon. So sun and moon. So not seeing sun and moon may be, I think, more of a figurative, more of a symbolic thing. In any case, so it says nothing can hold it back. So it can cross through a wall, can get to any place they want to, can go to America, can go to, I don't know, Antarctica, I don't know, wherever you want to go, it can just go. It cannot stop. Nothing can stop the Bardo. It has that magical power, except for two things. One is the mother's womb. They cannot go through mother's womb because it's actually blocked by their karma. So until the mother is ready to conceive, to carry you, so you and the mother, your mother to be, that the karma has ripened, you cannot enter the womb. So basically you cannot be conceived. So you cannot enter mother's womb due to karmic obscurations, karmic impediments. And it is also said that you cannot enter Vajrasana. You know Vajrasana? Have you heard of Vajrasana? Bodh Gaya. Yeah, Dorjiden. Vajrasana. Asana like yoga asana. Vajrasana, that's the name of the Bodh Gaya place, where the temple is situated. It's called Vajra Asana. So, cannot go there. The reason is, it is said because Vajrasana is so powerful that somewhat of, Bardo's kind. So Bardos are kind of a wretched being because it it doesn't belong in any category. It's it's not a very so it is too weak to be going to the Bodh Gaya, because Bodh Gaya has a very powerful energy. So we talked about this earlier, and it's true, okay? According to the sutra. So Bodh Gaya has a very powerful energy that, blocks off all types of spirits. Okay? Because it is said that Bodh Gaya is the place where Shakyamuni Buddha got enlightened, and before him, other Buddhas got enlightened. According to Buddhist text, all the Buddhas of the past have got enlightened in Bodh Gaya, will be in Bodh Gaya, right? In the future also, they will get enlightened in Bodh Gaya only. So therefore, it's such a powerful place that spirits cannot enter through. So it relies on smell, meaning it is a smell eater. So lifespan is 7 days. After 7 days, they die. They die means they just disappear. Then they born. They born means they just appear. Apparate and disapparate. Yeah, that's how they born and die. And the Bardo, it said that those Bardo who are going to lower realms, okay, it's gonna be very funny. So Bardo who go to lower realms literally walk on their head. Yeah, so they are going like this. Yeah, they walk on their head. So Bardo was going to the higher realms, they walk like normal beings. Okay, yeah, it sounds more comical than this, but actually it's in the text. Okay. Three lower realms go on the head. Three higher realms like normal walking. Yeah, like that. So every 7 days they die. So that's why we have to mark. We have to do the 7-day prayer Yeah, just in case they are dying this week, So before they die, we try to do a puja for them so that they have a high rebirth, they have a chance. So after 7 days, no matter whatever they go through, after 7 weeks, 49 day, they will definitely find a place to be born. They will find a womb to be and womb to enter. The maximum stretch is 49 days. After 49 days, there's no escape. So they will be born after that. And so, as we discussed earlier, anyone who has committed the 5 heinous crimes do not have to go through intermediate. There's no intermediate. There's no intermediacy. It is immediate. Yeah. So, that's that. Then the birth take place according to the 12 links of dependent origination. So that's the topic of its own. I think that's all, and it's 9 o'clock exactly. Question? One question I can take. No question? Good.
I have
You have one question? Go ahead, please.
and then plus one.
Okay, 2.
So,
3 questions.
Yeah, so Rinpoche, you says that in the intermediate states, the Bardo being cannot enter Bodhgaya
Or mother's womb, yeah.
or mother's womb.
So is it only the Mahabodhi temple that they cannot enter? Or is it the whole entire Bodhgaya? Is there a border?
Yeah.
The reason I ask is, if the Bardo's being cannot enter Bodhgaya, then how there's so many children?
Oh, Bodhgaya, yeah.
No,
That's true.
It's just a curious question.
I know, yeah.
Yeah, since it's such a holy state,
Right.
but then they need the intermediate being to be reborn into the mother's womb,
Right.
and there's many mothers there,
Right.
right? So
Right.
it's just a question for
I know,
curiosity.
yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
That's a very good question. Thank you, Vinila. And for my my sort of, I think I'm a logical person, okay? I think I'm rational. I used to think. So, to my rational mind, it doesn't make sense, especially someone who is trained in the Bodhisattva path, that the spirit cannot enter the most holy place where they need the nourishment of spirituality the most. So how they cannot enter that place, I don't know. But according to Abhidhamma Kosha, which is sort of the Buddhist encyclopedia, masterpiece by Vasubandhu, it's a masterpiece of which the second chapter is rejected by His Holiness. Second chapter, right? Yeah, it talks about Mount Meru and anything. So anyway, the reference is actually the temple premises, or more precisely, the temple was built much later, right? It was actually the Bodhi tree where Buddha got enlightened. So that place is so powerful that a spirit cannot enter. Yeah, that place, yeah.
Only the tree.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Then I found something interesting. I thought of something interesting that I should have added. Any more question, by the way? No question. Yeah.
So for those that is not experienced practitioner,
Yeah.
so when we realize that we are going through the stages
Mm-hmm.
and we are inspired to be born in Amitabha Pure Land,
Mm-hmm.
so at which point we should, at which point of time?
Does it shoot off to Amitabha? What's that? So at the time of the closure of so when the close attainment goes to, basically after the fourth voidness. So after the close attainment enters to complete voidness, it is closed. There's the total darkness, and then after total darkness, after less than a millisecond, maybe 1,000th of a millisecond, so a millisecond. So the Buddha, there is a bright sense of brightness, right, for those who are for general people. So at that moment, that the mind is the consciousness is shot off to Amitabha's Pure Land.
So there's
Yeah.
no intermediate.
No, intermediate. Intermediate, I told you, intermediate is considered a wretched state. That's why it cannot enter, that's why it's considered like cannot enter the Buddha's powerful sacred place like that, yeah.
So is it like we are doing, remember you teach us when we sleep, that we imagine that we down and
Correct.
just do like that?
Yeah. So you do the inhalation, exhalation, exhaling, your consciousness goes out, inhaling, it comes back. Eventually, there's no coming back, only going. You train like that way. And if you doze off in that, in between, it's similar to you die in that state. So if you are, because dying and sleeping is kind of similar, right? Awake, alive, dead, sleep, it's kind of similar. So when that happens, when you train in yourself in that way, then it becomes easier for you to propel yourself to Amitabha's Pure Land at the time of death.
I'd like to talk about, you just mentioned this, from a person like myself who experienced this moment. Does it mean that it's only meant for those who pass on, or
Those who?
especially when you mention about the glow chapter followed by the brightness, right?
Yeah.
So what happened? You wakes up from there? It means you are rejected, right?
Yeah, you said you are experienced that, so you are the good example.
Yeah, I had a personal experience.
Yeah.
So when you see the brightness,
Yeah.
and you wake up from there,
You told me you had the brightness too, right?
yeah, I saw that. It's
Yeah.
very bright and it's
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
extreme,
Yeah. Maybe you're in Pure Land already.
Like,
We are all Buddhas but playing around with you. Or maybe
Is that what they always see in the movie, like,
ah,
final destination, whatever it is?
okay. I don't think this is the final destination. Yeah. I don't know much. I think you have a better experience than me on that one. Yeah, you have better knowledge on this.
This is a short question.
Short question.
Sleeping meditation.
Yeah.
I think when you last lesson,
Mhm.
you say when you exhale out
Consciousness goes out
from the nose,
Yeah, from your nose yeah.
to
to Amitabha's heart.
No,
Yeah.
into the heart,
Mhm.
not through the nose.
No.
Then when you come back, so you come from the heart.
Comes back from the heart.
And
Yeah. So-
inhale is go through the nose again. Is it? Or
I think it comes from Amitabha's heart directly. Yeah.
go into the heart,
Yeah.
our heart directly.
Yeah.
No.
No, it comes from the Amitabha's heart.
Yeah.
It goes to Amitabha's heart directly, comes from Amitabha's heart directly,
Yeah.
but enters and exits our body through the nostrils.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
when you come back to us,
Through the nostrils too.
so when you inhale, it go through the nose.
Yes,
Go into the heart.
yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Because we inhale through the nostrils. For Amitabha, not need, I guess. At which point?
Yeah, so at which point do we, because you mentioned about the practice is when you breathe out, the consciousness go to Amitabha, breathe in, it comes back, right? So at which point do we stop the coming back and keep going out?
I see.
Is it at our last moment or?
No. So like for a few months you train in coming back and forth because you keep it you're training. So after some time you become good at this practice, you can stop the coming back process. You can just keep going out like that. So whenever you fall asleep you're supposed to do it 21 times. In between, if you fall asleep, that's also no problem. I think the 21 number is more or less like the counting the sheep, trick, so that you get to sleep much. Yeah. I wanted to add something before I forgot, that maybe this is interesting for you to know, because many of you are parents. So the Bardo, the intermediate being, searches for a candidate, a prospective parent. Keep looking, and so when it keep looking, and maybe I'm not going to tell this. You find out in the book. It's not good, I think. Okay.
I didn't say halfway.
Yeah, I shouldn't have started. Actually, I'm past my time, so I should have stopped.
Yeah, I give you extra time.
So the intermediate being, the son, the child to be, looks at the prospective parents, and they fall in love with either of the parents and try to have a sort of a resignation towards one of them. So don't change your judgment after this, in any case. But anyway, this is so when the parents, when they have a likeness, keenness towards the father and some sort of resignation towards the mother, the intermediate being is born or is conceived as a female. So whatever you hate or you don't like, you're born as that. So if you have a daughter, that means she liked the father and was conceived. If you have a son, he chose the mother and has some sort of apprehension towards the father. But it's called the twist or tryst of karma. So what you don't want to be born as, or what you hate. So the father being a male gender and the mother being a female gender. So when you love the mother, you born the opposite gender, which is the boy. If you love the father, you born the opposite gender, which what you wish to be born as, basically your wish is not fulfilled. Yeah, unrelinquished, right? Sort of dream. So if you have a son, he chose the mother. If you have a daughter, he chose the father. Yeah.
Is there any text of this?
Yeah. It's called Abhidharma Kosha. Just check. You can check. It's highly based on 20 billion candidates. No, it's in the text. Yeah. It's very much so. What's that? Vasubandhu's, yeah. And not just Vasubandhu's text, but all the text on the, if you check, so the the 12 links of dependent origination, which talks about birth, right? So there's other 11 topics. One of them is the birth. So when it comes to the birth, it talks about birth is basically intermediate taking place, giving birth, being born. So when they do that, they check for a candidate. So they have it's actually not hate, okay, I just raised the stake. So it's just like they wish some sort of closeness to the father and some sort of apprehensions toward the mother, some sort of very slightly. And when that happens, since to whichever gender they have sort of apprehension, they were born in that way. So what they're attached to, they are not born in that gender. So sort of the gender, how to say, determination is decided way before you are conceived. Yeah, according to the Dharma. Yeah.
Way before.
Yeah, so Bardo, I'm talking about the intermediate state.
Yes.
So the intermediate state is roaming. Okay, right now there may be intermediate states roaming, the Bardo roaming around here. And if you are in a, how to say, if you are ready to conceive as a mother, so the intermediate state roams around and looks at the parent, the probable parents, and then somehow, for whatever mannerism, the Bardo takes a liking to the father and not to the mother, then is born as a girl. So the decision is made at that point. Yeah, not by the Bardo, not by the intermediate being itself, but the twist of karma makes it being born as the gender that they do not want to associate with. So it's a twist of karma. Yeah.
So by enlightened being, choose.
For enlightened being, they just choose wherever they want to be born. There is no Bardo even. Yeah, no need to go through Bardo. So there are two ways to being born. One is called Leda Myomong Bewangi, which means karma and afflictive emotions, klesha. The other one is mulam, which means bodhisattva, high level bodhisattvas are being born out of aspiration. So I aspire to be born in a certain place, I be born there. So that's why His Holiness always say, as long as space remains, may I too remain in this world to dispel the suffering of sentient beings. So you can make such a aspiration and a commitment, and can be born, can remain, can come back as such. Mm-hmm.
Actually, I heard that those that committed suicide, right? They repeat the action over and over again. So, is that happen during the Bardo stage?
Those who committed
Those who
suicide.
commit suicide? Yeah.
And it's like, I heard that they repeated the actions of.
No, it's not during the Bardo state. Bardo state is unpleasant on its own. I mean, the scenes are replayed in their memory and everything. That it's not a very pleasant state during the Bardo time. Usually that the repeated does not, so when they take rebirth in another life form, then the same situation is repeated. Not in the Bardo state. When they were actually born in one of the realms, then they do the same thing. So for this, need to go a little bit further. I don't know, do we have the time for that? When we talk about cause and effect, everything is about law of causality. Law of causality, karma is the biggest thing. Emptiness is important, but it's not as important as law of causality. If you understand law of causality like in great detail, everything works. Emptiness comes later. Law of causality, there's something called cause and effect, right? Law of causality, cause and effect. Effect has two kinds. Okay. An effect that is similar to the cause in action. Effect that is similar to the cause in experience. Let's say you take someone's life or someone's property. Next time your properties get stolen. That is an experience similar to the cause that has been inflicted. So you harm somebody, you get harmed, right? That's the experience. The cause manifesting in the form of an experience in the effect. Then cause effect that is similar to the cause in action means you take somebody's property this lifetime, next lifetime you are prone to steal. Because you were successful in stealing last time. And it happens to people if you look at this lifetime, people who are successful in stealing or lying, they do more often because they can get away with that. So the effect similar to the cause in action is much more dangerous than the one in experience. The experience, you experience something unpleasant, you don't want to do it anymore. Action, you steal, you're successful, you steal more, then you steal bigger things, you lie bigger, you tell bigger lies, this and that, until you get caught finally, and then everything is gone.
Any more question?
Mm-hmm.
Just to clarify on this concept of karma, which makes us reborn because of the merit and gain. But then you mentioned during the Bardo stage, we have this opportunity of doing merit, prayers, etc. Is that to raise the person's karma or to a higher level, or it's not possible to change that person's karma, right? So what's the purpose of this?
Okay. So a lot of time when we talk about person's karma, we think like person's karma is just one blank sheet of paper, or one sheet of paper with all the details written on it. Actually, karma has so many details. There's a lot of what is that? It's a very sophisticated accounting book. There's so many what do you call that? Promulgations, yeah. So coming in and going out, so many, very much detail, right? Everything you have to pay for. Every little good thing you did, there's a reward. Every little bad thing you do, there's a consequence for that. So very detailed. So I'll come to the point. So you said, can you change the karma? So because when we ask this question, you usually think there is one karma, one sort of one objective karma, sort of I don't know, one bundle of karma that you can change, or just one piece of karma like that you can hold or apprehend. That's not the case. So we have in our karma is like an experience. So experience is multiple. It's a myriad color. Experience is of myriad color. Similarly, karma is of myriad color. So many different colors there. So what happens is, okay, this is coming straight to the point. At the time of death, okay, because we have myriad of karma, so many different variety of karma. What karma will ripen, what karmic force will ripen or manifest at the time of death depends on few things. Okay, the first one is the one that is the largest amount. So meaning, if you have done so many bad things in this life, then it will be the negative karma that will manifest right away. So yeah, if you have been, let's say, doing something negative, like killing animals, this whole your life is like that, then at the time of death, this will manifest, this will arise. So it will be unpleasant. If that thing does not happen, another thing what you can do is what you have been familiarized the most. So it's kind of similar. Sometimes familiarized most means the thing that you have done repeatedly. So let's say you have been a butcher, then you have been killing animals or sentient beings all the time. So you are very familiar with killing. Okay, so then that karma is gonna take place. That karma is gonna manifest. So there's a difference between a large karmic force and the most familiar karmic force. Large meaning, for example, if you have killed like your parents, for example, right? Patricide and matricide. If you have committed that, even though you have done it only once, you can kill your parents only once. So it's not familiarity, there's no familiarity here, but it's such a heinous crime that this will manifest the first thing. But and if you are a butcher for a lifetime, then you have been used to killing for a long time. So that's the difference between a large volume of negative karma and familiarity with negative karma. So the difference between, let's say, a patricide or matricide vis-a-vis killing some other forms of life for a very long time. That's the familiar part. And then, so these two things happen. Then the one thing is, I forgot, okay, there are 4 cases. So, I'm so sorry, I cannot remember the 2 other cases. In any case, so there are 4 instances, different karmic forces will manifest. So I remember the 2 of them, the other 2 I don't remember. So in any case, you can find out about this you can find all of this in the 12 links of dependent origination. You can find about this. So different karmic forces rise on different occasions at the time of death. Okay, so that's the main reason. So the third one I remember. So what's the last thing you have done? That will take place, that will manifest at the time of death. So that's why we try to do a lot of like positive things, like doing prayer, mantra recitation, like put the Buddha's image or teacher's image in front of the dying person. So that person may have committed patricide, may have butchered for the lifetime. But if we can, for some part of their last moment of death, if we can put some positive thought in their mind, this will manifest. So there's myriad of karmic forces within you, whichever you can. So it's whichever you can ignite, that will light up. So that's why we try to push, even though that person has done so many negative deeds in the past, they have done some good things in the past as well. So by pushing through their, reading the Dharma text, this and that, and making them familiarize or remember some of the good deeds they have done, we try to You might have heard about something called Gewa, which is virtue, and Gewetzawa, which is the root of virtue. Have you heard the term root of virtue? So root of virtue basically means Gewa is just virtue that you are committing, you accumulate, merit you're accumulating. Root of virtue is that some of the virtue that you have accumulated in the past, it's the root, or we translate as root because literal translation of Tibetan Zawa, but it's more of the seed of virtue. So seed of virtue that you have implanted long time ago can be, can be harnessed, can be harnessed at the time of death by making you remember about, when someone cannot remember something, you tell them, show them picture. In general, in life, when people go through dementia and this and that, you try to make them remember things with different objects and memorabilia things. Similarly, we try to show them the picture of the Buddha, Amitabha mantra, all these things, so that they can have one moment of positive mindset. And if they die having that mindset, then this positive karma, or the positive seed of positive karma, seed of merit, will be harnessed, and this will propel you to have a good rebirth. So this sounds very kind of unbelievable, because someone does negative for the whole life, and at the time of death you try to make him remember something good, and that goodness that he remembers at the last moment of his life can change all of his life, the direction of where he's heading towards. Sounds so unbelievable, but it does happen. It does happen in the sense that if you have been used to familiar with doing negative work all your life, like killing people or this and that, at the time of death, only thing that you keep seeing is people trying to get back at you, revenge, vengeance, and trying to get back what you have taken from them, this and that. So no matter what the lamas are reading in text, showing Buddha's picture, anything, you're going into confusion. So even the text says about getting free from the confusion in the Bardo state, in the dying stage. So you get totally confused. You start seeing armies attacking you. You start seeing thunders. You start seeing earthquake. Basically, all you can see or think of is something that is terrifying. It'll be so difficult for you to remember something positive, even when people are showing the picture of Buddha or your teacher or something positive right in front of you. You cannot see that because of it's clouded by the karmic obscuration. So there are different type of obscuration, like afflictive emotional obscuration and karmic obscuration. This is karmic obscuration. But provided the Lama is very powerful, and then he is able to make you remember one or two happy memories at the time of death, then this can actually change the course of your death at the time of your life or your next rebirth. Even though you may be doing something negative all your life, that one positive moment, positive thought can actually propel your life to a higher rebirth. Because in the past, we have all accumulated a lot of merit to be born in higher realm, as well as so many negative deeds to be born in the lower realm. So which one we'll be able to harness depends on our familiarity, the intensity of the karma, as well as immediate causes. Immediate cause means someone tells you about the Dharma at the very time of death, then this can actually help you to remember. If you could hear that Lama saying, now we remember, then during the dissolution, this is like at the time of the dissolution is also taking place. So you can or cannot hear, most likely cannot hear Dharma teaching or anything, because the ear awareness is gone. Cannot hear. You can recite mantra or show picture, cannot see, blurry, this and that. But provided that you can have a glimpse of a Buddha's image or hear something positive, have some positive thought, then that moment, that positive karmic force will be given priority instead of the negative karma that you have accumulated for a long time. So you'll be born in a higher realm, something like a human realm, okay? Then we have asked questions. We always ask questions like, how come a child being born like this? Child is so innocent. Why the child is suffering like this? There are so many children who suffer from this and that condition. So this is the answer to that. So you are born in the higher realm, but because of so many negative karma that you have accumulated in the past, this manifests as a child who is suffering incredibly. We cannot fathom why a child innocent like that has to go through that. What did the child do? So if you look at rebirth, the concept, then it was actually a very negative person who was able to raise his positive root or seed of merit at the time of death and was being born as a human being, but from the birth onwards, the baby, the child, the teenager, the adult, the old man kept suffering non-stop, like that. Yeah. Sorry.
Well, thank you, Rinpoche, for the answering all the questions, and I think we are all, very interested.